guys, in this video we're gonna try to find some derivatives using only the power rule, which is x to the power of n prime equals n times x to the power of n minus 1 for any power n in R. Okay, so let's start with the first one. F of x equals 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. Here we're gonna use the power rule, as I said, and we're gonna compute f prime of x equals 2. And here, the first term is x squared, and its derivative is 2 times x to the power of 2 minus 1. It means 2x. Using the power rule, minus 3 times 1 times x to the power of 0 if you apply the power rule to x, which is x to the power of 1. So the derivative of x is 1. So let's write here 3 times 1 plus, and the derivative of a constant is, of course, 0. So you're going to find f prime of x equals 4x minus 3. So this is the final result. Now let's move to the second example, in which we have f of x equals 5x to the power of negative 2 plus 9x to the power of negative 1. Again, here we're going to apply the power rule for the first term with n equals negative 2. So it's 5 times negative 2 times x to the power of negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3, plus 9 times negative 1, or n equals negative 1, times x to the power of negative 1 minus 1, which is negative 2. So we're going to write this in the simplified form. F prime of x equals negative 10 x to the power of negative 3 minus 9 x to the power of negative 2. Next one, f of x equals 2 over 5 x to the power of 4. And here we don't see a power of x, since the power of x is in the denominator. So before starting your derivative, or before making the derivative of your function, you may write your function differently, okay? So let's write our function differently. It's equal to 2 over 5. And you know that if you bring a power from the denominator to the numerator, you're gonna put a minus sign in front of the power. So it becomes 2 over 5 x to the power of negative 4. This is the function f of x. We didn't start the derivative yet, okay? But here we can see clearly that we have a factor, which is 2 over 5 times the power of x, which is x to the power of negative 4. So we can apply our power rule for the derivative, and we're going to obtain f prime of x equals 2 over 5 times the derivative of x to the power of negative 4, which is negative 4. X to the power of negative 4 minus 1 gives negative 5. And we can write our final result here. F prime of x equals negative 8 over 5 x to the power of negative 5. Next one. F of x equals 2 square root of x. Here again, we don't see a power, but remember that square root of x is equal to x to the power of half. And this is a power of x. So we're going to write our f of x as 2 times x to the power of half, and apply our power rule for the derivative. We're going to obtain f prime of x equals 2, and here n equals half, so times half, times x to the power of half minus 1, which is negative half. So f prime of x is equal to 2 times half is 1, so x to the power of negative half. Next one, f of x equals x over 7 plus 7 over x. The first term is easy to differentiate. The second term is 7 over x, so we have to rewrite it as a power of x. And here we can write that it's equal to x over 7 plus 7, and we're gonna move the x from the denominator to the numerator, so we're gonna put a negative sign on the power, and it's x to the power of negative 1, since the x here is x to the power of 1. Now we're going to make our derivative f prime of x equals, the derivative of x is obviously 1, so it's 1 over 7 plus 7 times negative 1 x to the power of negative 1 minus 1, which is negative 2. So we can write it as, so f prime of x is equal to 1 over 7 minus 7 x to the power of negative 2. Okay? So here we try to apply only the power rule to obtain all these derivatives. And keep in mind that if you don't see a power and you are able to rewrite your function in another form which shows a power of x, don't hesitate to do it because it's simpler than using advanced derivative rules. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next videos.